How you doing? Um, I I was told this morning that I was getting a bit of a buzz in my sound, and I thought, well, maybe it was the microphone I was using. So what I'd like to do is there still a buzz? Hey, Mark, is the buzz still there, or did it go away? Some of you may be buzzing anyway. Hi, Javi and Junior and Donald and Andres. Hey, Caliber 3135 and Orange Hen and Mark. Eddie, how are you? Donald, no buzz. Okay, no buzz. Well, so I guess it must have been it must have been uh, the microphone. Something's with it. I don't know what it is. So, is the sound okay though? Hello, Drew and Lee and Javier. How are you doing? Okay, couple things I wanted to talk about. Some of these we talked about this morning, and so if you were here this morning, some of this will be redundant. But I wanted to. Hi, Roberto. How are you, Thomas? Uh, what I wanted to do was to reiterate one of the things. We do have our website up for this for those who really want to go ahead with and get the watch. It's called the Jumping Retrograde Project. This is it right here. And this is what the web page, not web page, but the Facebook page is going to look like at the thing. And so if you want to go ahead and with the project and get a watch like something like this, I have no idea what the final thing will be like, but this is basically you have the retrograde minutes and the jumping hour. So, okie doke. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I wonder if any of you guys are here from the other night. Did any of you go to that? They had an online live stream that they used with, I think they had Zoom with it, and there were like 5 or so people who were talking about the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève. Did any of you guys go to that? No? Yeah, Mark, I know. Yeah, it was today was the last day. I guess I could have worn my white linen suit because Labor Day is on Monday. Maybe I'll do a short video on Monday just so I can get it in, because anything after Labor Day is out of the question. Anyway, I guess none of you guys went to that. It was interesting. They had hi Indra, how you doing? The thing that was interesting to me. Oh, you were on. Okay, yeah. Okay, Warren Chan. Let me tell you, there were 2 things. One was that some of the guys who were talking about their choices were vehement in it. I mean, it was like, this has got to be it, and yada, 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 really, strongly so. And I was thinking, boy, all right. I have been humbled a number of times by the Grand Prix by saying, well, this is the one I think ought to work, and it didn't. And so like I said, I've sort of toned that down a bit. And it was the other one. There was some guy who had to bring in politics. That was when I left. They had to make some political crack, and so I just left at that time. Now they may have Orange, and there may have been more stuff that was pretty good after that, but I don't know. It was one of the things that I wanted to to try to avoid. When we talk about watches, we should talk about watches, and that's it. But there's right now things are too volatile politically to even mention them without going off on another track. So I avoid them when we're talking about watches. The other thing is that I wonder, some of these guys are talking about these watches like they were, there was all these innovations and everything in it and so forth. And I don't think they may not have really looked at the movement, because some of the movements in some of these watches were like junk, put it bluntly. And so that's always something important. I think and what I'm trying to say is that the Grand Prix pick, that's sort of the put up or shut up other thing. And I've been shut up plenty of times. Last year I did terrible on my predictions. And like I said, that's why I tend to be fairly humble. The year before that, I got every one of them, and that surprised me. But the thing of it is with watches, I think there's so many variables that are going into these things that it's fun to do because there are so many variables. But the tenure, the texture of it has got to have some amount of sort of like, well, here's the one I like, and I've looked at these other ones, and this I think has got the best shot at it. But then when you're wrong, I've noticed that the other thing is they say, well, I was wrong, and so they must have been wrong, not me. And maybe so, but it's an interesting kind of things that I think that, getting all aggro about it, or like, well, this is it. You can still get your point across without having to be that way. So anyway, just a little thing. Okay, now, but it's fun to talk about. All right, talk about these things. Well, I think this is going to do great. I think there's a Japanese watchmaker who makes the Tsunami, which is a beautiful piece. And he does all of these handmade things and so forth. And they're great. Now he did something very interesting, and it's, that's it, Hugh. It's Jaime Ahsoka. So he's got one of the watches in the Grand Prix is something that he did. And essentially what he did, he designed, I guess, the dial pretty much, and perhaps the case too. And they put in a cheap movement so they could sell it to make it affordable, which I think is a great thing. I really do. But then when you put something in that against competition with people who designed and made their own movement, everything else, you're dealing with a whole different area. And one of the things I think that would really be beneficial to the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève would be to have something for collectors, sort of like somebody makes something exactly for collectors, something that wasn't terribly priced. And here's the mindset that goes on, I think, in the watch business. I don't want to blame it on the Swiss, and I think who's been able to show it up better than anybody else is Hovering too. Here you have a handmade watch. They don't make very many of them every year, and they sell them for around between $4,000, $5,000, and $6,000. That's it. And for a handmade watch, they making a few hundred a year. I don't even think they get to 1,000. And not only that, they're incredibly good. My Harboring 2 still outperforms every other watch I have. And having said that, I think, well, why not have something for collectors? Something, if you're talking about, for example, a $5,000 watch, 5,000 or below watch, I mean, that's not peanuts. Imagine anything else that you spend $5,000 on. That's a major project. I think, we're going to have our driveway repaid for that or something like that. And so some of these things, I wonder, is that like, there's certain things I think that collectors appreciate and enjoy that your typical watch buyer could care less about. I don't know. It's just sort of something I'm thinking about. Yeah, that's us, Hugh. We have to leap into the breach. That was something else that came up. Hi, Lee. Yes, Mark. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What if we put it together, and we had sort of like a group watch for people like us who put somehow did so much. They could put a price limit on it. I was thinking, if we entered what we had put together in the petite aiguille category, my God, I tell you, I think I don't think anybody have a chance against it, because under $10,000, what they have, some of them may have some pretty good ones. I know that Harbring won a whole bunch of awards in that category. So, maybe there is something sort of and it's not one of these crowd-funded things. This would be something done by people who just like watches a whole lot and like really good movements, but aren't rich. Okay. I don't know. What do you guys think? Thomas, you got it. We're not rich like Mark J is. Okay. This guy, he's just crazy rich. But the rest of us, we have to get by. Anyway, what do you guys think? Amateur GPHG. Yeah, something like that. Maybe enthusiast sounds a little tonier. What do you think? The watch collector enthusiast categories. Something else too, and this came up this morning that we might consider. Hugh, you were one of them, I think, that like, let's get a watchmaker to put all this stuff together for us, and that's fine. I'm not talking about that, but I was thinking, we're going to have some kind of timeline here, and between the time Hugh, look at this, Hugh. This would that would feel so good on your wrist. All right. Anyway, put the 3 zeros after that, and I'll ask him about it. Anyway, there's for those of you who have never put a watch together, maybe that would be a sort of a project within a project. What we could do is, get a 6498 or 6498 clone and start working on it. This is one that I have. It's something really funny. I broke it some time ago. I mean, quite a while ago. So I thought, well, what I can do is that I can practice with I got one of those Dremel-like tools and started buzzing away so that I can see how much I would have to cut away on the 26498 clones that I have, that in order to try to bring them close enough together to obtain resonance. If I could do that, that would just be fun. Well, what happened? So here I have this broken movement, and I'm buzzing away with this thing, and all of a sudden it starts working again. So I got no idea. But the nice thing about a broken movement is that I can practice on laws and different kinds of things like that. And Eddie had done some stuff. He just took some hand movements, I think, that he had that were used with some kind of woodwind, and did some stuff. And I saw them, and man, they were just great. And when you look at a lot of the school stuff that they do, when you go to watchmaker school, you have to make a watch at the end of it, and usually it's a matter of taking an existing movement and doing something with it. I thought, well, maybe that would be a little thing we could do while we're waiting. If we can get what we need to move this other thing along. what we can do is all get the same movement and work on it together, so that those who are afraid to put it, and I don't mean that in a nasty sense. I mean doubtful of. I have no doubts about my ability to put a watch together, but maybe I should. I'll put it that way. But if you've never done it before, it seems to be very exotic and very difficult. But for the most part, it isn't, especially if you're really careful about it. And so once we get this other deal going, let's see if we can put something together for under $200. And even better if we could do it for under $100 with, get a movement, get a case, get a dial, and get the hands, and just, put it together together. Anyway, I thought that might be a fun thing to do. Like I said, but this is while we're waiting, and then people wouldn't be as concerned about some of the other stuff. The big thing, though, that we have to focus on now is getting the movement. And once we get the movement, a lot of other stuff, I think, will come along. Hey, Tim, how you doing? By Manchester in the Sea, or by the sea. And Hans, how are you? Group de Temps. Yes, that's that's a good one, Javier. Eddie tried bluing a movement too. Okay, I would burn down my house if I tried to blue a movement. Hey, oh boy. 3. Why'd you guys have easy names to pronounce? TH3, nobody. I'll just call you nobody, okay? I'm going to see if, let's see, even on Lodge is so hard. I just saw a dude in one of the schools post his attempt. Okay, I'm not saying it's easy. Some people like Eddie they're really good at it. Since a person like myself has no claims to talent, but I don't lack enthusiasm. I'll go sawing away on it, and if it takes too long, I'll use my Dremel and do it with that. But it's a fun thing to do, and that's the thing. Fortunately, I have broken movements that I can practice on, and so I can take this plate right here and just buzz away on it and see what happens to it. Now, the last time I tried it, the watch the movement started working again. I've got no idea why that happened, but it's got, the balance is really nice. I'd never throw this away because they can always use the parts for it. Okay, let's see what's going on. I'm going to see if I can get a good deal on a pre-broken movement. Cut out the middleman. Hey, send it to me. I'll do it for nothing. Hey, Paul, how you doing, man? Sean, how are you? So anyway, so let's see where we're going to go. Now, here at some point, we're going to have to get a commitment to the point where I can go to Agenor and say, look, we have definite X number of guys are going to get it. This is what we'd like. Can you do it for this? And what's your timeline on it? We have at some point. What I'm thinking is, oh boy. How do you want to go about and do that, guys? Because that's something that we're going to have to do sooner or later. I can't go to them and say, look, we want to get X number of movements and we want to pay this price without a committed group to it. And if you don't, that's fine. I mean, but don't say you will if you won't. That I think we'd run into problems. And then another problem is that if we got to a point and we said, okay, we got to go on it, and then someone says, like the day before they deliver them to us, they say, well, I'd like one too. It's probably out of luck on that unless we could, get them to make another one. But I don't think we can do that, to tell you the truth. Okay, so let's hear some ideas, guys. Silence. You guys have been chatting up a racket look at all of the text we have here, and now you're quiet. we got to come up with a solution. Oh man. Yep. Quiet as here we go. An idea be who are interested to join your FB page. Yeah, Mark, exactly. This was the point behind the Facebook page. This was the purpose of this. And if you're there are two kinds of people, I think. Ones who definitely want to go ahead with this. The other ones that maybe want to go ahead with it. But if it's something that, if you figure, let's take a minimum of 6,000, and believe me, that's an optimistic minimum. 6,000 Swiss francs, which is about, I don't know, 66,000, maybe $200 or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but the thing of it is that if we're going to go ahead with it, then we got to go ahead with it. Otherwise, we're going to have to bag it at some point. And so, but we can't sort of be too fancy. So Mark, I know, how many of you guys have already joined up with this? I know that Mark, you have, Eddie has, we have some, Hugh, I think you have. Was there already a consensus about ETA versus Vaucher versus our Agenor base? Pretty much so. It seemed that most people, yeah, Drew, you have too, and Indrajit. I'm pretty sure it's going to be with Agenor. I would like that the most, but maybe we can't do that. Maybe we could get sort of the critical base for an ETA movement, but not for an Agenor base to that. So we'll have to wait and see. Oh, thanks, Mark. Yeah, we're talking about $6,500. Wow, boy, the Swiss franc has gone up, or the dollar has gone down recently. But that's yeah. The other hand too. There's some people who will say, well, I'll go with a full Agenor, but I don't think I'd want to do it with an ETA underneath. I don't feel that way. I'll go with any one of them, but my preferences would be definitely to have an Agenor movement. I mean, there's a big difference, believe me. Donald, did you make more than one FG group, Facebook group, FB group, you mean? I tried to join another retrograde group. I sent in a request for the correct group today. Okay, yeah, that's good. Hang on a second. Let me just check real quick, and I'll see if I can find out. Hold on. I'll see who we've got. Oh, well, we got 4 people who want to join. So hang on a second. Let me see. Okay, Donald, Phil Turner, Simone, and Bernhardt. Okay. All right. So we got right now there are 20 people who are in it, but I don't know how many. Hang on a sec. How many are would be like, okay, we really want to do this. Hang on a sec. Okay. All right. So, the purpose isn't to, I guess, we've done a lot of the discussion already, and I don't mind doing more. But we sort of got to sort of hang on second here. It's a good idea, Mark. Let me get it up real quick. Okay. Michelle and Mesbarger. Okay, you guys are in too now. Let me put up the link for it right here. Copy. This is it. There we are. And Paul, you too. All righty, hang on a sec. Now let me get this all straightened out. Okay. All right. So I'll put it right here. This is what, if you have a problem finding it, you should be able to get it there okay. All right. So that's, so what we can do is that, and you know, since we can have a little more interaction with these live streams, sort of what would be your choices right now? So we've got the most expensive is Agenor. If this were a vote and I had one vote, that's what I'd vote for. But hi, Stoneful. The Agenor, okay. Yeah, Stoneful, one of the things, what we're talking about is an Agenor base and then an Agenor module. No matter what way we go, we're going to end up with a Agenor module being the retrograde minutes and the jumping hour. So that would be where we're going. Okay. Now, like I said, you know, I wonder if we could have people with different ones. I'll talk to Blair and say, hey, look, we've got like, you know, let's say 15 people who are committed and they want the Agenor option. And then we got 5 people who want the Vaucheur option. And then we got 10 more people who want the ETA option. I wonder if they'd go for that. What do you guys think? Because that would be fine with me. Now, see, what we can be flexible. You know, I'm thinking if you make a retrograde and a jumping hour, whether that will work with different kinds of movements, underlying movements. And my hunch is no, it wouldn't. It'd have to make a separate one for each one, and that might add to it. But we could ask. That wouldn't hurt. Okay, so let's hear from you. How many want? And we're talking. They had a base price for the Agenor movement of let's take a look at that, of $7,500, and I was thinking that maybe we could get a better price on that. Well, Mark, I tell you, it's not the difference so much as it is the amount of money. Someone says, you know, I could get together with $4,000 and I'd have to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for 2 years to do it, but I could do it. But I couldn't go beyond that. Okay, here are the options that we have. All right, we've got the ETA 2892. The Vaucheur, the ETA 2892 is estimated at about 4,000. The Vaucheur VMF 3000 is estimated at 5,000. And then the other one, they've got estimated between 7,500 and 9,000. I think it's important for us to say, you know, maybe we could think about something more toward 6,000. I'm not trying to be cheap or try to, I certainly don't want to make it not worth their while. I mean, you say, look, you know, we can get more guys if we had around 6,000 than we could as a base of 7,500. I don't know. What do you guys think? I can't hear you thinking. Yeah. Oh, we'll try, Drew. This is the thing, though. Like they're talking about between 7,500 and 9,500. And I don't know. Yeah, that's nobody. That's what I'm thinking too. It doesn't hurt to ask. Say, look, we could try this this different thing. Yeah, of course it is for us. Is it something they can afford though? This is Hugh, I agree. It's got to be fun. It's we'll put it this way: $6,000 or 6,000 Swiss francs is a lot more fun than 7,500. Well, at least it's a good. At least the United States, we don't have something complex like an election or anything coming up. Tell Agenor we're big time influencers, and we're doing him a favor. Okay, Hugh, I'll mention your name since you and tell we got some people who know French and can pronounce it correctly. That I will impress them. I think the part of they're from the Agenor is located in the part of Switzerland that I think that they're in the Geneva canton. They're just sort of like to the south, I think. I'd have to look at a map of where they are located relative to Geneva. But they're, sort of, I think, be considered a sort of a far suburb of Geneva. What are the base movement candidates? I don't know. Mark, can we use Agenor name on our dial? I tell you, we could, I suppose, but I'd rather not. Because, see, we're not selling it. This is for us. But what I'd rather have is simply have them on the movement. Just have whatever their designation is and simply have that on the movement. It just would seem to be, to me, it would seem to be more honest. To have that. I don't know. Boy, Hugh, you don't give up easily, do you? I'll tell you what, Hugh, you're a good guy. I'll tell him instead of 22,000, 20, because Hugh's a special guy. He's also ridiculously rich. How's that sound? I have a huge Instagram base of 22. My God. Small on the case back. Well, we're going to have, this is the thing, Stoneful. On the case back, along the edges, what I'm hoping is that the case maker, if it's Voetenlanen and Kalen, they'll put Voetenlanen and Kalen, which I think would be very cool. So this is, I think one of the things that I've been just really not happy about with the watchmakers, the watch companies, is that they don't always tell the truth. And to me, if we had it totally transparent, if there was a thing on the movement, we could look at the movement, and I think it's got a rotor. I don't know if it's a big one or a little one, but if that had Agenor's logo on that, and then on the case, if it were Voetenlanen and Kalen, I don't see how we could do better than that. Some of these companies that are like, just getting started and stuff, they want to have their logo and everything stamped on their rotor. That's nuts. If somebody was selling a watch and I saw the Vaucheur logo on their rotor or somewhere on one of the plates, I'd say, wow, that's really something. Let me amend that, because all Vaucheur movements have rotors. They're all automatic. Not sure you've mentioned this previously, but since Agenor is not building the watch, child God, the watch happens if the what? What happens if the movement needs servicing? I got my 84-year-old watchmaker. I take it to him. They got, yeah, Javier, that's a very legitimate question, and I just don't know the answer to that. I think I just don't know. We'll see. That's all I can say. I just do not know. I have 2 to 3 followers on Instagram, and I run a super exclusive feed. No little people. Oh boy. Problem is justifying the cost of a whole watch made as opposed to a great manufacturing watch for $10,000 used. So I guess, yes, if it goes on the rotors, the case would be a game changer. Drew, I'm not sure what you mean, but sounds good. If your movement needs servicing, you can send it to Agenor. I think that would be my guess too. Okay, guys. Well, listen. What we can do, we can continue this conversation, but what we've got to do is the thing. Yeah. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Here's the thing, Drew. If you're looking at this through your conventional lens, all right, and I say that not sarcastically, but if you're looking at this watch through conventional lens, I think you have it all wrong. All right. Go ahead and get a $10,000 watch on a used market that was sold originally, let's say, for $20,000. All right. Go ahead. On the other hand, what if something really crazy happened? And I mean by crazy, look what happened 20 years ago. 20 years ago, when Philippe Dufour was trying to get something going, how many other watches are there with an Agenhor movement? I don't mean an Agenhor modification or a module or a complication or a module or anything like that, but a movement. There are only 2, maybe 1 that I know for sure. And if we had the whole movement by Agenhor, and there's how many of us, a handful of us, do the math real quick and figure out what happened. If you think about this in conventional terms, then I don't think we'll get anywhere with it, and nor will you have a watch to really enjoy, because this is the whole concentration is on the movement with doing something that none of the other watches do. Okay, so get out of the business mode, because I don't think that's a good place to be for this kind of watch. And then see what happens. The watches I've had, I've never bought a watch with the idea that it's going to go up in value. I've always bought on the basis of the quality of the watch in terms of the movement, some other kind of things, and the watchmaker. And what's happened to them? They've gone through the roof. All right. So con cuidado. Okay. I thought a modular added. I'm behind on the time. No. It's something, I think, Drew, that we're all new with. We're doing something brand new. All right. We're not one of these startups that are trying to slap something together. We are trying to get something. We're trying to get the best possible quality in the world for a watchmaker, which is no small feat. And because they're not too interested in making a whole bunch of watches. They make them for, like, these Van Cleef and Arpels. These are huge companies. Hermes, whatever else we may think of Hermes watches, you ought to go to their shop on Honoré and Rue de Fabrique. I think that's where it is in Paris, on the right bank. I've taken my wife in there, and if I can get out of there with just buying a scarf I still have my shirt left. These are like very powerful companies. And here we are, a bunch of Rudy Poo collectors, who are doing something during the pandemic. And I think doing so, this will be the remarkable part of it. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, I know. Hugh, I think you're right. So, I and we could also make an honest watch. And by that I mean that all of the parts except for our label here, and even this was something that is, this is we can have, and I think Hugh was right, something we can have some fun with, and nobody else, or very few people are going to have this. And it's not by, my 84-year-old watchmaker who suddenly was inspired, but it's by someone who won the very first Grand Prix award for the Watchmaker of the Year, and that's Jean-Marc Viderec. So this is the fun part about it, is trying to, and I don't know, I don't have a watch with a retrograde minute and a jumping hour, and and again, it doesn't have to look exactly like this. We can do a million different things with the dial on it, and we can to our own taste. So I think we're. Hey, Hugh, maybe you'll get 23 followers after that. But if this, and I know we're saying, hey, boy, that's a lot of money. If I had that kind of money, I could get something else. You could. There's no doubt about it. It's probably not the best, smartest business thing in the world any of us has ever done. But I tell you, in terms of getting a watch that's remarkable, I can't think of a better way to do it. I mean, a better way to get something that we can begin to afford. So anyway, all right, guys, listen. For those of you who signed up on the Facebook page, let's get some ideas about how, when we get to the point where you say, okay, I'm in, but it's got to be a commitment, and that's going to cost us all something. And so I want some ideas from you on what we should do, okay? Mark, that's a possibility. Here's what I was thinking, and I mean this seriously. After we do this, let's try to put something together a watch under $200. All right, we'll get these, get an inexpensive 6498 97 clone from China, and put something fun together, and maybe we can do a little finishing ourselves on this and have some fun doing that too. And then we're not, financially, man, I tell you, just a fun thing we're doing. Let's face it, paying what we do for watches is not considered to be financially smart. We do it because we really like the watches. Anyway, we can do that for the 2022 pandemic. Okay. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you all for coming. Thank you for your comments. And if you're signed up on here, we can carry the conversation over to that. It'll be asynchronous, so we can do it from all over the place. Everybody take care and be safe, and see you later. Oh, tomorrow, I think you're gonna like the collection review we have for tomorrow. I think it's a pretty cool one. Take care. See you, Donald.